I have been designing apps and websites for the last 5 years. As a college student, I have competed at Hack MIT, Hack Harvard, and the Microsoft Imagine Cup. As a student of UX design, I have interned at Swiggy twice. As a professional, I joined a Y Combinator backed startup as their first UX designer that eventually raised $13.5 million in their Series A funding. Throughout this process, I have been documenting my learnings in thorough detail. This masterclass will give away all of the key lessons and a proper roadmap that you can use to become a UX designer faster than ever, using strategy and of course latest AI tools. I gave this masterclass at the College of Engineering Pune. So Pune, kasa hota workshop? Where we discussed how to use AI for growing faster and making more money. You'll find a free download link to my presentation in description. Watch this video till the end because 3 of you will end up winning my favorite books. So without further ado, let's get started. How many of you have a UX internship or a job? How many of you are working? Okay, so less than say 10% people have a job, rest of you want a job or want an internship, correct? Interesting. So folks, this is the agenda for today. We have a lot of things in plan. सबसे पहले we'll figure out how do you get your first paying internship or job, and I usually prefer internships because it is easier to get the internship. It is way more easier to ask for a 3-month internship and then impress your recruiter and then eventually convert. In the second module, we'll understand how can you use ChatGPT in your day-to-day UX work. On your WhatsApp group, we had asked that if you want to share your portfolio or work, we would love to review it on stage. So there are 2-3 portfolios that I've shortlisted from the audience, and we will use ChatGPT to analyze their work. So it's going to be a live practical. And then module 3 is for a live Q&A. Let's start with module number 1, ki how do you even get your first paying gig? Folks, nobody will pay you unless you're really, really good at what you do. And everyone knows this. The issue is कि काफी लोगों को पता ही नहीं उनको सीखना क्या है, ठीक है? There are 3 popular reasons why you are not getting hired. Number 1, you're just not good enough at what you do. This is the simplest reason. अब इसकी आपको awareness है या नहीं है, that is your fault. But if people are not paying attention to you, it's mostly because you're not good enough. Or maybe you're good enough, but you're not visible, which means that your portfolio is not online, you don't have a presence on LinkedIn. Basically, the people who want you don't know that you exist. Yeah, at the very end, even if you are visible, even if you get to the interview rounds, you don't know how to sell yourself. So you're a terrible communicator, you don't know how to speak, you don't know how to write, there are many issues with your soft skills. So we will understand how do you improve in each of these 3 sections. You need to run an audit of your knowledge of the tool and the subject. And I keep saying this again and again. No matter what skill you pick, the skill has 2 components. One is the tool, one is the subject. Now, what do I mean by that? Before I go ahead with the breakdown, there's one very important thing to note, and I think we can dim down the lights. I think otherwise it'll get very illegible for the last student. Even if I'm not legible on the video, that's completely okay. But let's make sure that the screen has contrast. A lot of students feel that having a design degree is mandatory. No, it is great if you have a design degree or a certification, but it is not mandatory. What's mandatory is great work. So you need to put all your focus on making sure that you are doing great work. A lot of students ask me that I've already enrolled in another degree. I'm a civil engineer, a graphic designer, a fashion designer. Should I drop out and pursue a master's in UX? No, please don't take such risks. In most cases, the downside is more than the upside. It is better to have whatever degree that you're having right now. Even if you have spent 1.5 years, it's completely okay. Please pursue that degree, finish it, and learn UX side by side. People say, should I wait for a UX job and stay at my house and work on a few internships and then apply for a job? No, please, it is not rocket science. Please continue whatever job you're in. Please keep continuing whatever you're doing and spend 1 to 2 hours at the side learning UX. I'm telling you, it is very much possible. You don't have to go through that stress and that embarrassment that, oh, I am sitting at home applying for jobs. I'll give you the full list of topics that you need to learn because it would be a waste of time to go through tutorials. So I'll tell you what you need to learn and where can you learn it from for free. Okay? Even then, after getting the list and the resources, I can bet that majority of you will not take this advice seriously. So if we have 50 people or 100 people in the auditorium, only 5 to 6 people will actually take this advice and complete it till the very end. And only those 5 or 6 will make money. Everybody else will just have a simple dribble and Behance profile. Please make sure you're not one of those. And I would be very, very happy if all of you do this and break the stats. But please take this advice seriously. Just because I'm giving it for free doesn't mean that it's not valuable. Should I rely on memory? Should I just do things on my own? Not at all. Please make sure you build a habit of documenting every single day, no matter what you're doing. I have been documenting my learnings since 2016. I was in my 12th. I used to make YouTube videos. Then in 2021 or 2022, I switched to Notion. Please make sure you're documenting everything. Otherwise, you will forget. In fact, in the middle of the session, I will show you my own Notion pages as well. I have never revealed them on YouTube, but today I will actually show you how I have documented things since 2019. So this is one of those pages. This started in 2019, and you can see all the topics that I had kept. Okay, and you'd realize that I have picked the smallest of things, and I have created a dedicated page for it. For example, for something as simple as being a first designer at a startup guide, or building a good design team, or just getting feedback, grids and layouts. These are individual topics that a designer needs to learn about. And I've kept all of those things neatly organized so that I can revisit them again and again. If someone is struggling with these topics, I can open up these pages and share the right resources with her. In fact, now when I'm in 2022 and 2023, what I've done is I renamed the pages with the year itself because I realized that every year the titles are going to be the same. So now this is how I've named all of my pages. 2023 UI design resources, 2024 UI design resources. So now it has become really, really easy for me to sort of go through all of this. And don't worry, I'll have the entire presentation uploaded on the WhatsApp group. So you'll get all the PDFs. So don't worry about that. Now, if I go into a specific page, this is how I write. Okay. I will have a heading, I'll have a basic subheading, and then just write whatever thoughts I would have in my brain. There's no structure to this. There are no rules to documentation. You can write them in a shabby way, you can write them in whatever language you want. Just make sure that you're capturing the intent behind your thought. If you were to read my language, you'd realize that I'm literally talking as if I'm texting someone. And that is how it's supposed to be. This is not going on LinkedIn. These are your own personal notes, and you just need to make sure you document your thoughts. Now, remember, I said for any skill, there is a tool and a subject. Let's cover the tool. In our case, it's most probably the Figma that you have to crack. Figma is the core tool that you need to learn. Step number one, we start with auto layout, constraints, and creating responsive layouts. How many of you are still not well versed with constraints? Is there anyone who has not tried constraints? Oh, I mean, even if you're embarrassed, you will say, "Haath niche rakhta hu." But yeah, if you haven't tried constraints, please make sure you get your hands on it. Super important for like level one. Components, variants and variables. I know a lot of you would have tried components and variants. काफी लोगों ने अभी भी variables नहीं सीखा है. Be honest, how many of you have not tried variables? Quite a few. So many of you. We've uploaded a 1 hour long video on our YouTube channel breaking down variables. It is the next big thing. Styles are going to get outdated. Variables is the next big thing. Please start learning. Basics of design systems. This is where things become slightly tricky, but I think in a design system, just basics of declaring your color palette, typography, styles, and components, that is more than enough. If you understand input fields, absolutely best. If you finished your colors, typography, and input fields, that is more than enough. And if you know how to create them in multiple themes, you are absolutely sorted. You'll be in the top 5%. When it comes to UX, please make sure that you're really, really good at refining the problem statement and priorities when you're working in a company. See, when you go for an internship, when you go for a job, there would be some people who would not understand design, but they would understand business. Okay, they will come to you with business requirements and with a sample set of problems. For example, I was giving this example to somebody else as well. Let's say you're working in a company that sells clothes and you are a UI designer for their mobile app. The product manager comes to you and says that Ria, you designed this app. We want to sell our limited edition jacket. Nobody is buying the jacket. There is something wrong with the UI. Let's do something that will make this jacket more appealing so that people click on the checkout button. You got the problem statement, but as a designer, you did not ask more questions. You directly started working on the problem statement. Turns out that in the real scenario, if I come to your app, as soon as I click on checkout, turns out there is no option to pay. So there is an issue in the user flow after you click checkout. Turns out there was no problem in the UI. But the PM missed this fact because they did not look at the dropout data. There's this metric called dropout where you check the entire user journey from the user opening the app till the user paying. So you have to be very, very careful that you refine the right problem. You can't just expect that just because this PM is coming to me with this problem, this is the real problem, because most of your thought process or your problem solving skills start at refining the problem. Once you have refined the problem, next step is about deciding the priorities. Because when you're a designer, you will have 10 things to solve. Everything will seem wrong to you because you have the eye for it. So you will be an expert at finding out imperfections. But not every imperfection will get you business. Basically, not solving every problem will get you business. And for a lot of startups, getting business is on top priority. Functionality is more important than aesthetics. But as a designer, we keep getting super excited about animations and colors and making things gorgeous and just making things more appealing. But your topmost priority is to make sure that your design drives business. So you will set the priorities with the PM that forget about all of these 9 other problems. This one problem will help us get more revenue. So deciding the priorities. Second, basics of information architecture, basics of design systems, and basics of user journeys. These are mandatory. What is an information architecture? You don't need me for that. Just go to Google and figure it out. It is literally you deciding a map of your entire app. How many pages are there? How many sub pages are there? And of course, you can Google this. You don't need me to explain. Then, of course, basics of systems. I've already covered this. I had made a video a long time back. It was titled 10 UX design resources as good as a UX design degree. And I have mentioned some supremely important resources that you need to check out once you go back home. I'm mentioning this video because I thought this video would be viewed by a lot of people, but it wasn't. And you're missing out on a lot of important free resources in this one. There's a new website called library.uiscore.io. And this website has done an amazing job at curating some of the most crazy free tools out there, free resources out there, a really good repository. I thought I'll share it with you. So yes, oh yeah, this is the slide. I think the slide got mixed up, but these are the remaining points that I wanted you to explore, when it comes to design in general. Number four, understanding of UI guidelines. So many of you start designing on Figma without reading the interface guidelines. First of all, as a beginner UI designer, please narrow down the niche that you're trying to sell yourself in. Web or mobile? Let's say mobile, because mobile has limited real estate, it is easier to crack. Within mobile, you decide Android or iOS. Go for iOS because the clientele for iOS is high ticket. A lot of businesses are trying to launch iOS apps first. If you pick iOS, pick just 2 to 3 domains. I would recommend either fintech or edtech because fintech and edtech companies are on a rise. E-commerce apps are on a rise. But if you're really, really good at artistic apps or like gallery apps for the iOS, you will not have enough customers for it. But if you become an expert in fintech, edtech, or Web3 or crypto, these kind of applications have a huge, huge demand for designers. So let's revise. You first chose between web and mobile. Then within mobile, you chose between Android and iOS. Within iOS, you pick 2, 3 domains, and then you start reading the Apple Human Interface Guidelines, which is HIG. You understand what is a sheet, what are the different states of the input button, what are the different kind of checkboxes Apple has, because I see so many resumes and portfolios where it is a mock-up of an iPhone. And in the middle, all input fields are absolutely nonsense. Random input fields, random buttons, absolute no idea of what iOS requires from you. Your app will instantly be rejected if you don't follow the guidelines. So it's supremely important that you're well versed with the UI guidelines. Next, basic understanding of visual design, hierarchy, and accessibility. Three core components of how your UI looks. Visual design is bare aesthetics, but then hierarchy is supremely important. You can have a really good looking UI, everything is sorted, but the hierarchy is messed up. which means that even though everything looks pretty, the user is not noticing the most important thing first. The user is noticing some random stuff. So you need to make sure that the hierarchy is sorted. Then you have accessibility, making sure that the text is big enough, contrast is there, the colors are right. And at the very end, pitching using prototypes. You need to know how to sell your designs, how to sell your story, how to create realistic looking prototypes within Figma. A lot of people still don't know about this resource, but we have created a website called learnuiux.in, which literally has a 9-week free guideline roadmap. Like it is a proper roadmap to get to a UX design career. And just to summarize, in week one, we cover all the basics of what is Figma, what is UX. If you go to week three, you will master everything you need to know about Figma, everything that I mentioned for the tool. Once you reach week 10, you will actually reach to a point of designing for AR and VR, which is about spatial design, which is the future. Spatial design is the next big thing for 2024. But the thing is, a lot of people are either not aware or they're not trying to follow this up. Google recently made this website public. It's called pair.withgoogle.com, where they've given a couple of AI design guidelines. They have actually taught AI patterns that you need to learn when you're designing applications that use AI. Incredibly awesome resource. It'll teach you a lot about creating better interfaces. So I think a lot of cohorts give you community, they give you a roadmap. But in the end, you are the one who has to learn and spend the next 1 year honing your skills. So don't expect magic from any of these courses or certifications. You need to make sure that you plan for the next 6 months, and in 6 months, you can only do the basics, by the way. It takes one proper year. And when I say 1 year, I mean at least 2 hours of every day study, which means at least 600 hours. You need 600 hours to become decent enough to get your first job. Should you take a gap year? No. Just get a job, pay your own bills, because staying at home is going to be more embarrassing for you. People will put more pressure on you, and then you won't have the peace of mind to learn design on your own. Should I do cold outreach? Doesn't work. Barely works. I would recommend to learn and build in public. Whatever you're learning, write about it on LinkedIn, create carousels, put yourself on the internet. That is the only way to get attention the right way. Should I be just a designer? No. If you're interested in no code, try to put your hands on no code. Get more skills. And I would recommend learn writing and persuasion. These skills are the fundamentals of being charismatic. And charisma is one subject that very few people talk about. I get so many emails. I was showing this to the team as well. This guy sent me an email saying, I have no clue, give me a roadmap. And it was in such a bad, terrible grammar. Like, I was just amazed that how did this guy even press send, knowing what he has written? There was this one guy who sent me an email saying, मुझे 4,000 रुपए चाहिए. That was all. Like, that was the email. No subject, बॉडी में लिखा मुझे 4,000 रुपए चाहिए. तो ऐसे काम करो कि कहाँ से जॉब मिलेगी, कहाँ से काम मिलेगा. But I know most of you will not do this. But I'm just letting you know that anytime you're sending an email, anytime you're doing outreach, that has to be very well written. ठीक है? Should I stay indoors, hustle all the time? No. Folks, most of these people who can give you jobs are actually out there. They're in the world. So they're in office spaces, they go to meetups, they go to events. And I go to so many of these talks and lectures, right? And anytime I go to this event, I would find some good designer. मैं उस designer का number लूंगा, and then I would refer that designer to somebody else, and that girl or guy would get hired. Like that is literally how it works. So in all of these events, me and every other senior designer, they're always on a lookout for good talent. It is a myth कि companies के periods होते हैं for job openings. Like there's no job opening. They're always hiring good talent. If you are getting rejected or if they're not replying to your messages, it's only because you're not good enough. But every great company is hiring 365 days. So be mindful of that. You should 100% check out Charisma on Command. यहाँ पे कोई भी है जिसने ये YouTube channel का नाम सुना है, Charisma on Command? Oh, a lot of you. It is a game changer. I would totally recommend every single person, even on Instagram, please start watching Charisma on Command. Charisma as a subject is highly underrated. And I keep telling designers that people will not only buy the experiences you design, but they also buy the experience of working with you. You need to be a person who is charming. You need to be a person who's good with his or her words. You need to be someone who's very smooth, and you will attract more opportunities. And it is not that difficult. I have done it. A lot of my friends have done it. It is super simple. Should you always ask for a job? No. Always ask to work as an intern, and please don't go less than 10,000 rupees per month. I met a student yesterday. He was in a college, studied UX, and he said that I got hired at 6,000 rupees per month of internship stipend. Educated UX designer getting a stipend of 6,000 rupees is absolutely nuts. That recruiter is simply exploiting him. But he's not aware. So if you want to go low, please don't ever agree to work at 10,000 per month. And I would recommend do 10,000 per month remote. This guy was going to office and then getting 6,000 rupees per month. That is the state if you don't know how to sell yourself, if you're selling to the wrong kind of people. Should you be calculative? A lot of students do this when they start out that they ask me to work for just 5 hours, but now they're making me hustle for 10 hours. What should I do? If they are good people, if you feel that the product has potential, go all in. When I got my first job at Zadal, I was working almost 8 to 9 hours a day. And I know some people say that it's toxic or whatever, but I was driven. Nobody was telling me to work 9 hours a day. This was not mandatory from my boss. I did it because I wanted to change my life. And if you have a strong desire to change your life, you will have to put in the work. So always make sure that in the initial parts of your career, you give more than what you get. And trust me, it compounds. You build a lot of good relationships. So let's have a quick revision of model number one. We first understood that you need to be really, really good at the tool and the subject, both of them. Everything is available except your intent. Bad spelling. Every single thing that you want to learn can be learned for free. The only thing that is missing right now is your energy levels and your dedication to invest your time. Be visible to the right kind of people. Nobody cares if you put stuff on LinkedIn and the right people are not connected with you or the right people are not following you. If your friends are following you on LinkedIn, what is the use of LinkedIn? So don't send connect requests to your friends. This is not Facebook. This is a place where you get work. Please be mindful of that. And please stop adding that I got a certificate from this and this university, from this and this course. What nonsense. Nobody cares. I would also recommend not write stuff that, oh, I went to this event and this happened. No, just share your learnings. Just your learnings. Nobody cares where you went. You have to give value on LinkedIn. Not on LinkedIn, actually, in any part of life, you will only get attention only if you give value. So, what are some important call to actions? Number one, start focusing on your writing and speaking skills and exercise at least 3 times a week. Please, folks, you'd be like, exercise? How did like exercise come into this? But of course, we'll get into that someday later. But if you've seen any of my videos, you'd realize how much emphasis I put on sleep, nutrition, and exercise. It really, really matters because your energy levels are directly tied to those three components. And your quality of life is directly tied to your energy levels. If your energy levels are low, none of this tip or none of these techniques will help you at all. Please make sure you're focusing on that. Start learning from learnuiux.in if you still haven't, and start document all of your learnings and write about what you're learning daily on either LinkedIn or Twitter. I would recommend to first write on Twitter, make a tweet thread, copy paste the same thing, put it on LinkedIn, go to ChatGPT, get a fake image and put it on the text post. Easiest hack. Don't just take a text thread and put it on LinkedIn. Put an image generated by AI. We covered this yesterday as well. Takes just 60 seconds, but it is such a good hack. So yes, now that the theory is out of our way, let's do some live demos. Let's check out module number two as to how can you use ChatGPT in your design processes. And there are three core use cases that we will cover today. Okay, number one is getting UI feedback from ChatGPT, then getting resume feedback. So we will put your resume, we'll take a JD and JD is job description, basically what the company puts as a job description. And then we'll ask ChatGPT to tell us where are we lacking. And at the very end, using AI to learn about mental models and UX flaws. So is Paras here? Hi, Paras. So Paras sent his portfolio and he's made it on Framer. I'm very, very impressed. Did you code and design all of it?
No, it's a template.
It's a template, but you still learned how to edit the template, right? So that he's very smart. Framer is a no-code platform. Any of you can learn Framer in 10 to 15 days and have your portfolio look like this. It's a great first impression. So let's figure out. Let's assume that Paras wants to now use ChatGPT. Have you used ChatGPT Paras to figure out about design? Have you ever used that? You have?
Yes.
And what are some use cases that you've tried out?
Like making user personas.
Making user personas. Okay, so number one, folks, please don't use ChatGPT for user personas. This is a very, very common LinkedIn post. I know that people share this advice quite often. But the thing is, user persona is the most human thing of your entire research. And don't use ChatGPT for things that are so human. It's very, very difficult for ChatGPT to understand what a user would want. Only a human being can tell you. But I know where you're coming from because that is the most common advice that people give. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, go to ChatGPT, paste it, and say, review this design portfolio. It's mine. I am applying for a good tech UI design job. Only tell me these three things. Okay. Number one, any copy or text feedback, grammar mistakes I should fix. Okay. Number two, any topics or content I should add to increase my chances. Any areas, it's getting slightly cropped. I don't know why, but let me see if I can hide this. Is it possible to hide this? Okay, very complicated. Let's just minimize it so that you guys can see everything. Cool. Any areas where I can learn and improve. Okay. Super basic. Okay. Paras could have literally asked for anything. In less than 10 seconds, it went through the portfolio and it is now giving me proper feedback. So let's check out copy and text. It is well structured and professional. However, it's always beneficial to proofread. Okay. Content suggestions to enhance your portfolio. Consider adding more case studies or examples. Details about your problem solving approach, including testimonials from clients and colleagues and any awards or recognitions. So, Paras, now I will ask you, is there a reason why you've not added any testimonials? Because you don't have experience. Is that the reason? And any awards or recognitions?
No,
So, are you not adding them on purpose? Or you're saying you don't have them yet?
I don't have them.
Interesting. And areas for improvement in the realm of UI, continual learning. Okay, so in that case, I think for UI, text prompts do terrible. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll go to his portfolio and let's check out a project. Okay, I'll take this project and let's take this app. Okay, I'll right click, save this image, and let me call this as sample one. Okay, I'll go to ChatGPT, click on this icon. This is only available in the paid plan. I'll go to desktop. Okay, review. Actually, first I'll say act as a senior UI designer. Let me give you context about this UI. Okay, now I'll go to your case study and I'll copy this entire paragraph. Go back here, paste this. Again, let me see if you've added any more text. Oh, you've already, oh, this the original UI?
No, no.
This is yours. And then you've mentioned the problems. And then this is your design solution. Interesting. Okay. So I think that much context is good enough. And then let me go here. Let me close this tab. Give me concrete feedback on the following: UI and visual tweaks, component level feedback, edge cases, and core problem use cases. And then now I'm giving proper guidelines on how I want the output to be. So I will say, please give practical pointers in bullet points and every tip with a CTA. Let's press enter. Now it is going to read your entire UI. Took less than 10 seconds. And now it has started to give individual feedback for every single thing. Let's check out. The purple hue is dominant and consistent, good for branding, but consider incorporating complementary colors to enhance visual hierarchy. Let's see if it's right. Makes sense. You don't have an accent color. It could have been better if you had at least one accent color somewhere, but this is not a big deal breaker. Ensure legibility on all the screens. Some of the smaller text appears challenging to read. That is true. Increase padding around elements for a cleaner look and better readability. Now, let's just say you read the sentence and you're like, what does it even mean? Where do you want to increase the padding? So I can say, I couldn't understand the white space thing. Can you tell me exactly what and how I need to fix it in my UI? So now you can cross question. You can have a proper conversation about every single thing. So let's see what happened. So now it is saying, for example, the proceed to pay button could be having more padding around the text and more margin from the elements above below it to stand out as a primary action. Let's check out your UI if this makes sense or not. Proceed to pay. Oh yeah, for sure, dude. This is super tight. So when it comes to, by the way, like primary buttons, it's always better to extend the entire width to keep them at the bottom. And so the point here is, folks, imagine how powerful this can be for a student. This is design feedback democratized to an incredible level, something that we've never seen before. And what you can actually do is, so let me now go to another example. Okay, this was Paras. Next, we will review Vineet's UX portfolio. Is Vineet here? Awesome, Vineet. So I saw that you made your portfolio on Notion. How much time has it been for you as a designer? कब से सीख रहे हो आप?
So it's been like 1 year.
1 year हो गया आपको? Okay, and आप jobs के लिए apply कर रहे हो?
Yeah, I applied for the jobs, but it was too early for me. So I just got unpaid internships.
Are you in college?
Yeah, I'm in my third year.
Oh, okay, then unpaid internships are bad, but because you're in third year, it is still okay. So are you starting your third year or you're ending your third year?
Sir, I'm in my second term of third year.
Second semester of third year. Basically, you're about to enter your fourth year. And what city do you live in? Where's the college basically? What city is the college in?
I'm in Tathode, JSP Tathode.
And do you have more UX designers around you, or are you the only one?
Sir, I'm the only one in my whole entire college.
What are you saying? So I have Vineet's portfolio in front of me, and let's see what is going wrong. What exactly is the issue? So, Vineet, number one, I really appreciate that you didn't wait to make a website, you made Notion. So the structure is great. But number one thing, Vineet, I don't know if it's visible on the screenshot or not, the cover picture is highly pixelated. See, these are the small things that people miss out. And what happens is that when we are designing, no, sometimes we become blind to these imperfections because we've been seeing it for so long. So before sending it to recruiters, you need to send it to fellow designers, be a part of communities, just send it to more designers. Any designer will open it and instantly tell you there's something wrong. Okay. Then you say business strategy, user-centered design, and business outcomes. Users, first of all, it's not making sense. Like the words are great, but you need to be clear and not clever. Being clear is better than being clever. Right now, you're trying to sound clever by using like great words, inspiring words. But if you were to write something as simple as I design mobile apps, that is way more effective. Or I design mobile apps for fintech startups. Comes to the point. User centered design is in title case, business strategy, business outcome is in sentence case. The S and O should be capital. If the middle word is title case, then the left and the right words also needs to be like in title case, right? And most importantly, it is not aligned. It is not centrally aligned. Vineet's UX design portfolio, everything is left aligned and the cover is centrally aligned. So the alignment breaks. Now, if any experienced designer opens this portfolio, that person is going to be like, Vineet doesn't care about these details. I will not hire him. So you need to avoid these mistakes. Cool. Now let's scroll down and don't feel bad when I am pointing out mistakes. Today it is only to point out mistakes. Okay. And you need to make sure that you are not your work. Vineet is different. Vineet's portfolio is different. All of us are criticizing Vineet's work. We're not criticizing Vineet. You understand the difference? right? Even when my YouTube video does terrible, I don't feel bad because all of us are employees of Ansh Mehra. I am also an employee of Ansh Mehra. Ansh Mehra is a fake guy we've created on YouTube, and me and my team work for that fake image. So that is why we're very detached and we can consume feedback easily. So now you say about me. My work, I've worked on social media management tool landing page, redesigning an NGO site, redesigning IT, all of these things. Cool. Let's open any of these. So I'll open redesigning NGO site. My role, intro, challenges, and design file. So I will open your design file. Till now, everything is sorted. Nothing bad. You're feeling very anxious now. He's freaking out. He's like, I did not see this coming. Cool. Now this is a prototype, which is a great step. Instead of showing a Figma file, you have linked to the prototype. And now I will scroll down. Cool. Now the number one thing is, let me just press Z so that we have the full view and let's fit it. Cool. Now the thing here is, you have understood the basics, but your visual design needs a lot of work. So in your case, the visual design seems slightly old. It doesn't look like a real thing. You've used the word logo on top left, but I would recommend you use ChatGPT to get a fake logo. Instead of making our work underlined, make that a hover state. Now, how do you use visual design techniques? You just observe websites and you trace websites. You literally tell yourself that I will take one website every single day and I will trace them. I will spend 2-3 hours every day. Now let's ask ChatGPT. I'll click on this icon and let's go to screenshot. This is a web UI I designed. Give me at least 15 ways I can improve this UI. For each suggestion, give me a sample URL of a website where I can take inspiration. Give concrete feedback in bullet points. I'll press enter. Now see what I've done. I gave you a website. I said give me at least 15 ways. And I said give me a sample URL of a website that I can take inspiration from. It's a very tricky and very complicated prompt. First, increase text contrast. Ensure the text stands out against the background for readability, inspiration, style. Hierarchy in text, use size, color, weight to differentiate. So now if you notice, all of these tips are still generic. When it says hierarchy in text, you will still not know where have I gone wrong. So in my prompt, I could have said, tell me exactly where I went wrong and then highlight where can I improve. So are you getting the point? So now you literally have inspirations right in front of you. Can you imagine the amount of time you can save if you were to do this properly? Cool. So I'll just tell you the prompt. If we don't have a quick example, I'll just tell you the prompt. You need to take your PDF and you need to take the URL of the job that you're applying to. Tell ChatGPT, read my PDF, see the JD, tell me where am I lacking, and give me a roadmap for the next 10 days to fill in the skill gap. It is as simple as that. So now you can tailor your CV according to the job description. Okay. Now we're almost at the very end. There are two very, very important QR codes that you need to scan. Can you just give me the mic again? Because I feel like students have all of these tools and all of these resources, but they don't have clarity. So number one, you need to watch this video that is titled How to Make 2024 the Best Year of Your Life. Is there anyone here who has already seen this video? Okay, 5-6 people, right? So this video will give you utmost clarity on how you should prioritize your goals. I'm telling you, the issue is with your prioritization skills. It is not with your brain or with your information. Then the second one is how to get ahead of 99% people. It's a career roadmap. Basically, these worksheets will help you understand what field of career should you really pursue and how should you plan that. The entire thing step by step. Just take a picture and you can scan it when you go back home. There are three books that you have to read. Mandatory books, absolutely important books in your college days. Number one, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Next, The Almanack of Naval Ravikant. And at the very end, Rework by David and Jason. I've been reading these three books again and again for the past 2 to 3 years, and I'm telling you, anytime I read them, I will learn something new. They are that in depth, they are that insane. Three areas of your personality that you have to improve in your college days. Number one, your verbal speech and fluency, how you speak, how you say, your confidence levels. Second, your writing and your texting skills, because as a freelancer, as a remote worker, if you can't text properly, if you can't write emails properly, it'll be a huge bottleneck for you. You know about this tool called Slack? It is used for, it's like a WhatsApp group, but for corporates. Slack has an interview round where the entire interview round is on Slack. You have to text. They check your texting skills in the interview. Because if you can't text clearly, it's a big sign that you're just not a clear thinker. Then at the very end, physical fitness, skincare, and clothing. We can talk about this for an hour more, but I'm just letting you know that go to my YouTube channel. There's a playlist called Improve Your Life, where I've explained how I fixed my physical fitness, skincare, and clothing. I'm telling you, it really, really matters. No matter what people say, everyone judges a book by its cover, no matter what the conventional quote says. If you feel that you're not very good at English, we created a video where we teach how to improve your English speaking and writing skills. This got almost 1.4 million views in just 3 months, so this will really, really help you. And आज के लिए इतना ज्ञान काफी है. आपका दिमाग बिल्कुल गर्म हो गया होगा. Thank you so much for investing your time and money. With that being said, this is your dost Ansh Mehra signing out. ठीक है, सो एक बार सब हाथ रेस कर लो. आई जस्ट कैलकुलेट कितने लोग हैं. ओ जस्ट वन क्वेश्चन, ऑसम. ओ एक बार सब हाथ रेस कर लो, मेरे को फिर गिनने में आ जाएगा. ओ अच्छा, ओके. क्या सब मस्ती ऐसे ही कुछ लोगों ने ऐसी वेव में उठा लिया पीछे. ऑलराइट, यस.
I'm 2007 pass out, BFA, Bachelor of Fine Arts.
Okay.
I took a parenting gap of nearly 12 years. And मैंने
Insane.
अभी कम बैक किया है.
Oh wow, please have a round of applause for her. That's amazing. That is so cool.
मैं एक साल से UX सीख रही हूँ, सर्टिफिकेशन भी किया है,
Okay.
स्टार्टअप ज्वाइन भी किया है.
Okay.
मेरा एक ही क्वेश्चन है कि यंग माइंड्स के साथ अभी मैं कैसे मतलब कप अप करूँ, कैसे
अरे तो यंग माइंड्स तभी तो कर पाओगे. यंग माइंड्स है, इनको तो आप ऐसे ही बीट कर दोगे. You should not worry about young minds. Young minds are the most distracted minds ever. You will have like 10 times better focus than them. So don't feel, and see क्या होता है ना कि हमारे को ऐसा लगता है कि शायद जॉब्स लिमिटेड है तो शायद कंपटीशन बहुत ज्यादा हो जाएगा. बट इन रियलिटी एक तो जॉब्स बहुत ज्यादा है और कैंडिडेट्स क्वालिटी वाले बहुत कम है. तो इफ यू बिकम रियली गुड एट व्हाट यू डू, आपको तो एक ही जॉब चाहिए, 10 तो चाहिए नहीं. और एक जॉब मिलना हमेशा इजी रहता है.
how to become better at storytelling skills.
ओनली विद प्रैक्टिस. अनफॉर्चुनेटली इसका कोई कोर्स नहीं है. चाहे कम्युनिकेशन हो, कॉन्फिडेंस हो, स्टोरी टेलिंग हो, ये ऐसी स्किल्स है जो सिर्फ देख के, ऑब्जर्व करके और प्रैक्टिस करके ही आती है. व्हाट आई यूजुअली डू इज आई वॉच अ लॉट ऑफ सेलिब्रिटी इंटरव्यूज and I watch a lot of Netflix, I would watch a lot of documentaries, YouTube videos, and मैं तो एक ऐसे ऑब्सेशन पे आ गया था कि I would take the transcripts of interviews and read the transcripts just to break down कि उसने ऐसा रिप्लाई क्यों दिया है. इनफैक्ट कल मैं रात को एक यूट्यूब चैनल है मैशेबल, एंड मैशेबल ने एक नया प्लेलिस्ट लॉन्च करा है तोड़ फोड़ करके, वेयर दे आर टेकिंग बॉलीवुड सॉन्ग्स एंड दे आर इंटरव्यूइंग द पर्सन हु मेड दैट बॉलीवुड सॉन्ग. और वो अपनी पूरी फाइल्स खोल के दिखा रहा है, ऑडियो फाइल्स, कि मैंने कैसे लेयरिंग करी, कैसे स्टोरी के बारे में सोचा. एंड दैट इज ग्रेट फॉर अ स्टोरी टेलिंग स्टूडेंट because it will really really teach you, you know, how a narrative is built. I would totally recommend everyone to check it out. उन्होंने अर्जुन वैले जो गाना है एनिमल का, उसका ब्रेक डाउन किया था, एंड आई वाज शॉक्ड कि इतने से गाने में भी देयर आर 15 स्टेम्स ऑफ साउंड्स, और एक एक साउंड कैसे ऑब्जर्व करा, वहां तक कैसे पहुंचा, वो किस तरीके से समझा रहा था. लॉट्स टू लर्न फ्रॉम इंटरव्यूज. So it only comes from observation, it only comes from practicing. I hope you're going to meetups and events, and जितना ज्यादा बाहर लोगों से मिलोगे, आपका धीरे धीरे ना स्किल्स बढ़ती जाएगी. एंड घर पे भी अगर हो ना, बी अ स्टोरी टेलर इवन एट होम. लाइक फॉर मी, आई एम ऑलवेज पिचिंग. अगर आप मुझे घर पे भी मिलोगे, इवन विद माई पेरेंट्स और विद माई मॉम, आई हैव सम स्कीम, सम वे टू लाइक पिच. सो आई एम पिचिंग इवन इंडोर्स. So just keep practicing, and it takes 2 to 3 years. It's not a 6 month thing. It takes time. Yeah.
Focused on more like being visible. So, like, or like, will you elaborate more on that, like, from
See-
where to start?
Correct. So see, being visible has two components: offline visibility, online visibility. Okay, let's cover online visibility because that is the easiest for a student. In online visibility, you have some social platforms that are just for designers, some platforms that are for everyone. For example, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, these are for everyone. But a platform like Upwork, Fiverr, Behance, Dribble, these are social platforms for just designers, right? You need to make sure that in your starting, you're only putting work on these public platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, because there the sample size is high and the expectations are really low. As a student, if you were to put something on Dribble from day one, you will not get attention because Dribble has filtered a lot of people. The expectation and the standard is really high on Dribble. What students do is they would start putting stuff on Behance and Dribble in the beginning itself. And it's very tough to get attention because the pool is very small, very filtered, it's super tough. You need to make sure that whatever you're learning, you don't become an online creator, you become a curator. There's a big difference. I am a creator because I have some experiences. I would make a YouTube video on top of it. But a person like Sahil Bloom, you should check him out. Sahil Bloom says, these are the 10 things I learned from this book. Here are 10 profiles you can follow to learn about AI. He is curating. He's not creating. He's not saying, ये मेरा ज्ञान है, ये ज्ञान ले लो. He's like, ये मैं सीख रहा हूँ, आप भी सीख सकते हो. So as a student, being a curator is better than being a creator. So you can become a curator on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. You are learning, and if you found something interesting, if you're reading about a mental law. So I forgot to mention that in ChatGPT, I regularly use ChatGPT to learn about mental models. I would take a screenshot from Mobin. Mobin is this app where you get UI inspiration. Put it in ChatGPT and say, scan this UI, tell me all the UX mental models this app is using to influence me. And it would list down that here they've used Hicks law, here they've used Fitts law, all of these things. So you can do these breakdowns on a daily basis. Start curating on the social platforms. After 2 years of experience, start creating on Dribble, Behance, and Pinterest.
So, like, you suggest not to like just start with posting. You suggest first curating and then
Curating, because curating will make you better. And when you create, your content will be good. If you directly start creating, your content is not going to be good enough to get attention. You barely know anything. It's better to be a curator. Then you build your audience. In 2 years, you'll build your audience. After 2 years, when you start creating, they will applaud you for it. So this is online. Okay. Offline, go to as many meetups, events like these, as many workshops, as many meetups as you can. I have paid almost 15 to 20,000 rupees per month just for these events and tickets as a student. Even now, I have paid a subscription fee to enter these small knit, UK ki community, US ki community that are just paid communities of other design influencers, just so that my name is in that list. If somebody clicks on members, they should see Ansh Mehra ka face and Ansh Mehra ka naam. उसमें मैं कुछ post भी नहीं करता हूँ, but it's just a fee that I've paid to show my face and name because it compounds. Like it really matters. But step one for you is be a curator. Start learning. Thank you. If you enjoyed this video, then do check out this video of the same series. I am sure that it will help you even more.